in this video, we are going to be talking about how we can evaluate non-negative rational number expressions. Okay, those are some big words. All we need to really know here is that a rational number, this is going to mean that we will see fractions and we will also see decimals. Okay, and remember our expressions, our key there is that we have no equal sign. So for example, 3b plus 7, there's no equal sign there. So when we are evaluating expressions, we need to follow something called PEMDAS. You guys will also probably have heard, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So let's go ahead and write them out what they mean. So the P stands for parentheses. Okay, anytime we see parentheses, we want to do that first. The next one is exponents. Then we have multiplication. I'm going to put the little dot here, and division. We always do multiplication and division left to right. It's super important to remember that. Also, with addition and subtraction, we also do addition and subtraction left to right. This is why you guys will see me write it long ways like this with the multiplication division next to each other so that we can remember. It's just like when we read a book, we want to solve it left to right, whichever one comes first. So some more key terms that you guys have seen and will see that you need to know. Quotient means to divide. Product means to multiply. Remember, we can see the dot. We can put numbers next to variables to multiply, and we can also use parentheses to multiply. Sum means to add, and difference means to subtract. So now that we know those, let's go through and do some expressions and evaluate these. So I like to stack up, anytime I see this expression, I like to stack up my letters of PEMDAS so I can check them off as I go. So number 1, I don't see any parentheses, so I am going to skip that. Number 2, I do see exponents. I have an exponent right here, 5 squared. Now an exponent, remember, the exponent tells you how many times you multiply the base by itself, and the base is this really big number right here. So right now, this 2, a lot of us want to do 5 times 2. That is incorrect. That's not how we do exponents, okay? This 2 is telling us that we want to multiply the base 5 by itself twice. So 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is actually 25. The next important step with parentheses, with expressions is I want you guys to bring everything else down so that you don't lose your place and your order, because it's super easy to make errors when we don't bring things down. Okay, so I am done with exponents. Next, I have multiplication and division. I made a little error here. There should be a division sign. Left to right. Now, this is why it's important to solve multiplication left to right, because if I'm looking at this, my division comes first. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. And I'm going to bring everything else down. Next, I have multiplication, 12 times 4. 12 times 4 is 48. And again, I'm going to bring everything else down so I don't lose my placing. So now I'm done with multiplication and division. Now I have addition, subtraction. Again, I want to do it left to right. So first I see subtraction. 25 minus 5 is 20, and I'm going to bring everything else down. And now I'm just left with an addition problem. 20 plus 48, which is 68, which is my final answer. All right, next one. Do I have parentheses? I do. I first see parentheses 27. I see a difference, 27 minus 6. So 27 minus 6 is going to be 21. Again, I'm going to bring everything else down so I don't lose my placing and get confused about what my next steps are. Okay, next steps, I still have parentheses because these brackets, these are also forms of parentheses, okay? In my parentheses, though, I have an exponent. I want to do that first. 3 to the power of 3 is telling me that I am multiplying 3 by itself 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. So I have 27 plus 21 in my parentheses, still in my bracket, so I want to do that first. 27 plus 21 is 48, and then I'm going to bring everything else down so I don't get confused. So now I'm done with my parentheses. I still have an exponent. I have this exponent up here of 2 to the power of 4. So 2 to the power of 4 is saying I'm multiplying 2 by itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. I can multiply those together to get 16. So 2 to the power of 4 is actually 16. So I'm going to erase this right here and put in a 16 there, just to save myself some room. So I'm done with exponents. I do not have multiplication. I do not have division. I add and subtract left to right. So first, the addition comes up first. I'm going to move this over here so I have some extra room. 48 plus 16 is 64. Minus 3 is my last step. So 64 minus 3, my final answer is 61. All right, last one, PEMDAS. Do I have parentheses? Yes, I do. I have 48 divided by 6 is first. 48 divided by 6 is 8. Everything else stays the same. I'm going to bring everything else down for right now so I don't lose my placing. Next, my brackets are still my parentheses. In my parentheses, I need to do my exponent first. I have 6 to the power of 3, which is 6 times itself 3 times. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. Everything else is going to stay the same. So with parentheses, I still have a parentheses here. I need to add 216 plus 8 is 224, and I'm bringing everything else down so it stays the same. So now I am done with my parentheses. I'm done with my exponents, and now I have multiplication or division. I don't have division, but I do have multiplication, because if you guys remember, anything with parentheses, if they're next to each other, means to multiply. So this is saying 1/2 times 224. Any whole number has a denominator of 1, so I can just multiply straight across. 224 divided by 2. I can either cut that in half in my head, or I can set my division house if I need to. 2 can fit into the 2's 1 time. 2 can fit into 4 twice. So I have 112. My last step is to bring down my minus 20. So 112 minus 20 is going to get me to 92.